Good morning. My volume's up. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yay! Hi, Julie.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm wearing headphones, so I wasn't going to be too noisy.
Oh my gosh, there's Christopher. Hi, Christopher. Who's so much more handsome than George Clooney. Oh my gosh, it's so great to see you guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't have my headphones on because my headphones are really, I hate having the headphones on.
Yeah, it's like the tether. I can't handle it.
Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Good morning. Figure out, people are stuck in waiting rooms. I have to figure out how to turn that off. I wanted to turn on the breakout rooms in case we wanted to meet people, because I only have the 40 minutes. I've
totally
fully commit to Zoom, so
I totally get it.
Do something fun today, like break out into lanes, and we can like meet your lane mate, and then come back into the group and introduce them. But we'll wait like 2 minutes just to see if anyone else wants to come. And then we'll talk to Louise about swimming.
This is a fabulous idea, Shannon. Thank you so much for doing this. It really is.
For coming.
Yeah. And I'm not really a morning person, so I'm only doing this for the people I love.
I feel so honored.
Although I've been getting up and getting to work because I'm working remotely, which I would imagine a lot of everybody is working remotely.
If you can, I guess. Yeah, my work, I was doing swimming stuff, so can't do any of that right now.
But thanks for doing this, and I got all your wonderful questions, and so I know we only have 40 minutes, so I thought I'd let you kind of take the ball and run with it. I can answer your questions or whatever the group.
Yeah, well, let's do, I was going to wait just 1 minute just to give people, because some people, takes them a minute to join. And then I just, instead of doing like, well, there's only 6 of us, we could just go around, make sure, just do a quick intro and maybe like the last book you read or something like that. Okay. And then I'll do my little questions for you. And I guess the other thing I'll note is I am recording this because I'd like to post it for people who don't, in the Pacific time zone, who don't want to get up at 5:30 in the morning. So I hope that's okay with everyone.
So where are you located, Shannon?
I'm in Southern Oregon.
Oh my Lord, girl. So it is 5:30 in the morning. Oh my gosh.
Well, if I wasn't, my kids are up soon. So if I want any peace, get up early.
This would be my regular swim time. I'd be in the water right now.
Right?
But I've been sleeping in.
Good.
My sister, by the way, if anybody, she's guest starring. She's also sub guest star. It's the first time she's been here. I'm excited.
I like the guest starring. That's great. I love that.
Yeah, I figure even after, all this ends, this could be just to meet the swimmer, turn it into.
I'm seeing a hat trend. I wonder if I should go get a hat.
Well, I had like full volume on my wake up, like my hair this morning, so.
I just went running, so I recognize I have morning running hair, and it's not attractive.
But I love that hat, Daniela. What is it, like a little? It's an animal or
it's
something?
It's a Yeti. Chris has one too. His is pretty adorable.
Chris should be wearing his Yeti.
I'd have to go upstairs and get it, but it's around. It's not at my desk.
You don't keep it at your desk? What's wrong?
I know.
Yeah, dude, yeah. What the hell?
Should be ready within 5 feet of you at all times.
All times. That's my life motto.
Well, I even got in the shower and washed my hair for you people. That's how much you mean to me.
Oh.
Get in the shower and look good. I put makeup on for you guys.
Wow, that's dedication.
It doesn't look like it, but I look terrible on Zoom. I've learned that from all these Zoom meetings now. Like some people have a very good Zoom persona. Yeah. Like Shannon, you look very approachable in Zoom. You're very.
How about the lighting?
I don't have the lighting down. I need lighting help.
I just need to turn all my lights off and just be like a black pane. Like maybe you can just see my eyes and that's it.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Also, my goal today is to do my full half hour of abs. So I'm going to hop off at 9 to join Charlotte's class.
Gosh, maybe
or
get going.
6, where your time is, whatever the butt crack of dawn you're at.
I thought about backing it up to 4:30 so we could also do Charlotte's class, but I figure it's only 2 days a week. So
you need to talk to her though to make it more West Coast agreeable for you guys.
Well,
so even
6 really isn't that bad. I don't think I think it's fantastic she's doing it and it's recorded. So
isn't it awesome?
Yeah.
She's the best.
She's the best.
She's the best.
Sure.
She's so sweet.
Yeah. So let's just go quick around and introduce yourself and what should we do? The last book that you read. You want to start, Louise?
Wow. Okay. So okay. So I'm Louise Darlington.
Oh, maybe where you live. That's a good one too.
Oh, where I live. I live in central Pennsylvania. For most people, it's either Harrisburg or Hershey, Pennsylvania. That's kind of where I live. I'm in Elizabethtown, but it's not Hershey and Harrisburg. You know where that is?
Yeah, I drove through there because we drove from Boston to Hershey and then back, and I didn't follow directions like I should have. And
precisely. Yeah. That's how people wind up in Elizabethtown. They get lost. So they're trying to go to Hershey and they get lost. But the last book I read, oh my gosh, that's really bad. I think it was a David Sedaris. I read a David Sedaris I got in the airport. I can't remember. It was probably Calypso. Yeah, I love David Sedaris. That was the last one I read from front to back.
Very cool. Julie.
Tag, you're it. Who's next?
Julie, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm living in Modesto, California, or somewhere near there. And I just finished the book Whistling Past the Graveyard, and I cannot tell you the author, but it was in our book club book, and it's pretty good. So Whistling Past the Graveyard. It's actually from the point of view of a 9-year-old girl and some adventures of hers while she runs away, and somewhat dangerous adventures. But she runs away from home. It's pretty cool.
That sounds amazing. You know, you guys I'm a librarian too, so I could talk more about books sometimes than I can about swimming.
But we're here for swimming. We'll get to books.
I won't digress.
I wanted to do this. All right, Chris, can you introduce yourself and where you're at?
Hi, I'm Chris Grafe. I'm in Jamaica Plain, Massachusetts, which is one of the townlets here in Boston. And the last book I read was called I had to look it up. the first 15 Lives of Harry August. There's this author named Claire North, who, if you haven't read anything by her, is just phenomenal. Writes a lot of books. It's sort of at the edge of science fiction. But basically it's about a guy who keeps reliving the same life over and over. And there's a whole bunch of basically people like that. They're called Kalachakra, and they just keep living the same life, but every time they get to do it a little differently, but it's kind of the same. So it's a little bit like Groundhog Day, but there's intrigue and fascination.
Oh gosh, you guys are gonna have to share these titles with me.
Yeah, I love her stuff. Actually, the first book I read by her was called Touch, which I read in January, and it's so appropriate for what we're going through right now, just because it's sort of unthinkable. But the idea is that you could pass your consciousness and your whole soul through a body just by touching it. So people shift and change bodies all the time, just like walking through a crowd. Not everybody, but certain part of the population can do that. And so, yeah, it's a really, she's wonderful. But yeah, that's my book story.
Daniela, can you introduce yourself?
I might have nightmares about soul stealers now.
Oh, you will. Check it out. It's great stuff.
So I too, for the next week and a half, I live in Jamaica Plain, and I live down the street kind of from Chris, and I'm not going to live in Jamaica Plain at the end of this month. But I'm moving to Watertown, so it's still really close. The last book, it's the book I'm currently almost done with, and I don't read books, I listen to them, because then I can run and listen to my books. It's called Heartland, a memoir of working hard and being broke in the richest country on earth. And it's by Sarah Smarsh, and it's actually really good. It's just like the story of her growing up in rural Kansas, and how everything from the courts to like literally everything is a kind of built around screwing over people that are impoverished, like to be able to get a lot of the benefits you need in a dress. And for someone who's trying to get away from like a domestic violence situation with your kid that the courts don't want to give to you because you don't have an address, to be able to hire a lawyer because you don't have money, like it's like that's her whole life. It's like it's kind of an explanation of working hard to keep your kids out of poverty, but how like social injustice and economic injustice just kind of like does the loop over and over again, generation after generation. So it's heartbreaking, but very good.
Huh.
Highly recommend.
Jocelyn, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Jocelyn. I live in Ashland, Oregon, Southern Oregon, near Shannon. And I'm actually currently reading, well, I'm not actually reading it. The author is reading it. Blue Mind, the science behind how being in, near, on, under the water makes us more connected, happier, better at what we do, more creative. Anyway, so we're on chapter 8, and he reads it every night on Facebook Live on Dr. Wallace J. Nichols. So this is my current book, and I've read it multiple times and always find something new in it. And that's it.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah. That's my next one. I just finished the Man versus Ocean. I was reading Adam Walker's book. I hadn't read that before. I was what was I was on a little like swimming themed book reading for a while. But Blue Minds is my next one. Jocelyn, great, was graceful enough to give me a copy. So I think most of you know me. I'm Shannon, and just down the street, technically like 6 miles from Jocelyn in Talent, Oregon. And I'm really glad you're all here. So thanks for coming. Hopefully get your friends to come. And we'll keep doing this on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Next on Thursday, I think Kate Howell's going to be on. She's in San Francisco. And Chris is going to be our guest star next week, so we get to find out about Chris. And if you know anyone else you want to recommend to be a guest, let me know. Oh, that's actually the last question for you, Louise, but we'll do it. We'll get started on your questions, but the last one for you is, who can you recommend? Oh, and I'm also in search of a new, a better name, if anybody can think of a better name for this.
Okay. I was thinking like something about like Swimmers Connect or something using Connect or
yeah, like
right.
I thought about like Meet the Swimmer. I don't know. Anyway, we'll keep thinking on it. If something comes up, you can always just let me know. So today, Louise is our guest. Can you tell me, Louise, what is your favorite place to swim?
First, I have to congratulate you. Your questions are awesome. They're epic. And so it's interesting. I thought about it, and I have to say, I've swum in some of the most amazing places, as all of you have. And the more I think about it, I don't know that I could pick one favorite place. I think because when I thought about it, it has so much to do with why I'm swimming, where I'm swimming, who I'm swimming with, if I'm by myself or with a group. And I'm also there's certain parts of the day that I love to swim. I love the afternoon sun. I just love when that sun is setting and I can see it on my shoulders and I'm swimming. So I could be swimming in the crappiest lake, dodging logs and leaves, or in a big ocean, but it's that time of the day and the people that I'm with. So I can't really pick a favorite, although some of the places I've swum are just exquisite. And I know there's a million that I haven't swum in yet. So I think I would have to say my favorite thing is who I'm swimming with and when I'm swimming. I won't pick a body of water. Yeah. So I kind of didn't answer your question.
That's okay.
I refuse to answer.
Do you have any all-time favorite events that you've participated in?
It's funny. I think my first favorite was when I did my very first open water swim. I still love that swim. That was the Statue of Liberty. And I kind of did that on a dare. And a friend of mine said, you can swim around the Statue of Liberty. And I had never even seen the Statue of Liberty. And that's just still a moment in my brain that I'll never forget. And I, stopping under her feet and looking up and just it was just the most amazing thing I've ever experienced in my life. You know, with Manhattan in the background. I love swimming around Manhattan. I love the swims I've done around Manhattan. But I think the one that I did the most, I did the North Channel in July, and that was great. But I'll tell you, I went and I did Ned Denison's camp in Cork. I love swimming in Ireland, around that little island in Santa Cruz. Yep, yep. So I think that was probably my favorite. And again, the people. It was the people that really make it, and not just the swimmers. The little kids that are sitting on the wall watching us do what we do.
Wow.
And like the little ladies that serve us sandwiches. And that's why that made it so cool. Absolutely loved it, yeah.
So that was Cork Distance Week that you're...
That's Cork Distance Week, yeah. But you can go even, you know, the funny thing is, and that again is what I love about the open water community, and I think all of us do. I love getting in touch with the fact that there are people that do this all around the world. We don't know their names. They're not big swimmers. They're just ordinary people. I mean, that's what I want to be. I want to be that 90-year-old woman who toddles down to the lake and jumps in, and people just look at you and go, "Who is that woman?" You know. In Cork, in Kinsale, where Ned has that, there's a whole culture. You just see families going down and swimming there, and that's why I think I love it so much. You know, they don't really care who you are. They're just swimming.
Yeah.
Just lovely. It's lovely, lovely, lovely experience. Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I think that answers the next question of why. I'm curious when that Statue of Liberty swim at, like, what time of year is that at?
Well, that was when New York City Swim under Morty Berger, he used to, I'm going back, I don't know if you guys are familiar with, before Dave and Ronnie took over with New York Open Water, it was New York City Swim. And Morty was doing that, and it's a crazy swim. I don't know that they let you swim around the statue anymore. Urban Swim, I think, does the Freedom Swim from Freedom Tower to the statue. The logistics were so nutty. And so I really give, you know, Morty did it for years. He gets a lot of credit for just all the permits he needed. But anyway, the first one I did, it was in August. And then the second, that was late at night. We wound up swimming late at night, which was not the intention, but things, as you all know, things go awry. And you're going to start with the current, and then you wind up starting against the current, and it's crazy. But so that we swam pretty much at dusk. And then the following year I did it because Hugh, you guys, if you don't know, my husband Hugh started swimming with me too because he wanted to see me. His thing is, if I don't start swimming, I'll never see Louise. So that's why Hugh started swimming. But he's really built for a runner. He's a runner. He and I started out running together, and I was always dead last, and he's way in front of me. But I'm faster than him swimming. After I got out of the Statue of Liberty, he said, "Can you teach me how to do that?" And I'm like, "Well, sure." And that's what led to my coaching.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, so this is like the whole progression. So the following year, he swam around the Statue of Liberty as well. We trained him up. He did the qualifier. And that was first thing in the morning. And that was a wonderful image because, and this is why I love New York. I absolutely adore New York. We swam at 7 o'clock in the morning. We got out of the swim, and the folks that had to go off to work, they went off because we had the island. They closed the island for the swim. And we all finished, and you saw the people that had to go off to work, and they went off in a corner, and they started getting dressed in their business clothes. Wow. To go off, to go into Manhattan and to work. They just swam around the Statue of Liberty, and they were like, "Have a great day, Fred. Have a great day, Sally." Okay, and they're getting dressed in like 3-piece suits and heels, and it just was so much fun. It was so much fun. So it always was in the summer at different times of the day. But they no longer, I don't believe you can swim around the statue anymore, but you can swim to her. And she, if you haven't seen her, she's absolutely breathtaking. She's a work of art. She's just beautiful. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, very cool.
What year was that, out of curiosity? That year?
Oh my gosh. Well, this is 2020. That was probably 2014 was when I first swam around her. And I'd been just doing running up to that point. And I'm not an age group swimmer. Because I always grew up just swimming in the ocean. My mom would throw us in the ocean and we'd learn how to jump waves. And I just always loved swimming. And then this friend of mine who's a goofball said, you can swim around her. And that's when I thought, well, maybe I'll learn how to be an open water swimmer. And that's what got me hooked. Yeah, but that was 2014 and then 2015. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Next question, are you a process or an outcome person?
These are great questions. Man, okay. Holy mackerel. I really thought about that. I'm a process person. I love the outcomes, but I've had a lot of, this is the one thing, I'm so glad I started like the little support our swimmers group. I failed miserably in swims. And I shouldn't even say that. Now I can say it. In the moment when I've not completed a swim, it feels like an utter failure. But looking back, it just felt like a failure. And but the process, I think, is so much more important for me. It's not so much the outcome, it's looking back to what I put into it. And yeah, it's hard to put into words, but yeah, I'm very processed. Yeah. Have you done any research? Are most open water swimmers process or outcome?
Oh, I wouldn't say I've done any research of it. I mean, personally, I've realized that I'm really outcome driven and that I like to develop a process, but I'm not as great at sticking to it. So it's that's influenced my I guess my philosophy and my style. But I've had, like, since becoming an open water swimmer, I've had a couple kids, and so I've kind of had to make it work.
Well, and I think what's important as a coach, I didn't realize how much I would love coaching and how good I feel at it. And I think the reason I enjoy it so much is the fact that I work with so many different types of athletes. Triathletes, new open water swimmers, seasoned open water swimmers, pool swimmers. We're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah.
We are so incredibly hard on ourselves. And I think this is one of the reasons that this quarantine and the pool closures, I was so afraid, not just of young, I was mostly afraid of the older swimmers. When you go into the pool and you see these 70-year-old women that have been there for 20 years.
Yeah.
It's the community. And it's also the sense that, people are so incredibly hard on themselves. And so I just was very fearful of that. And in coaching, I see it all the time. We're so outcome oriented, we're so driven, that we miss the joy of the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I'll tell people, a couple of people that have posted in the SOS page or elsewhere in my life. If you can't swim, it's something, think about what else swimming does for you. It's not just getting in and the arm repetitions and the speed and the outcome. What else brings you joy? And most times I think people will say it's the lane mates, it's the community, it's the guy in the lane next to you who's always faster and is full of bluster, but you still love him every morning. Or it's the old sweet lady that you see in the locker room every day that says, have a great day, Shannon, or have a great day, Chris. And that's what we need to tap into. And it's going to come back. I think most of the people are outcome.
Yeah.
And we have to keep in mind the part of the process that you do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that. For the next question, how do you deal with hard situations?
Well, the hardest situation that I had to deal with was not getting across the English Channel. That was my hard. That's just one of the hardest in terms of swimming. I've had personal setbacks that were 10 times harder. But that one I owned. I mean, I had to own it. And I went through, like I think we all are doing right now, you go through a process. Again, the process. You get stuck on the outcome. I didn't make it to France, okay? But you have to process that. And so I went through these big stages of grief, which we're all going through right now, whether we know it or not, we're all grieving. We've had the denial and the anger. Now we're into the acceptance. And I think recognizing that you will have to allow yourself permission to go through that, as tough as it is, having a great support system. I'm lucky to have a very, very supportive family who know me very well, and they know how crazy, mean I can be and hard on myself I can be. I'm the first person that, you know, I take things out on. So I think to deal with hard situations is to allow yourself to go through that process, seek support, lean on people, and knowing that you'll get through it. It's just temporary. It's just a temporary thing, and not blame yourself.
Yeah.
You know, don't blame yourself. If you know, if you're used to getting up, like Julie's used to getting up at 5:30 in the morning and going swimming. And if you're having a rough day, don't beat yourself up over it. It makes total sense. You're used to that habit. It feels so good. Allow yourself to feel bad, but then think of other coping strategies that you can come up
Yeah.
with, as tiny as they may be. Have you guys read Lynn Cox's book, Swimming in the Sink?
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, that's the new one, right? Or newer one.
Real easy read. And but here's Lynn, and same situation for, she had this broken heart syndrome and couldn't swim. And the only coping mechanism that really started to feel good was literally putting her hands in the sink and just going through the motion.
Wow, I can appreciate that. I used to hate doing dishes, but just in the last few weeks, I've all of a sudden done all the dishes in the house. And we started cooking more and whatever. Baking.
Right? I mean, this is not to sound Pollyanna, but this is giving us a great opportunity to really to think about, yeah, swimming is about the outcome and getting in my yards every day and whittling down my mile by, 20 seconds. It's about so much more than that.
It is. It really is.
And that's what you got to get in touch with. Yeah.
The challenge I have, I guess, is trying to help impart like that perspective. I mean, yeah, the perspective on people. I mean, not like it's easy to just say it, but like, how do you make somebody like internalize that, right? Like,
Well, yeah,
I can have that perspective and I can feel that way, even though I feel like there will be big changes that could come from this, maybe until vaccines developed or whatever. But anyway, but it's like, so I can have that perspective, but if somebody gets really caught in it and they get really stuck and they can't find a routine, how do you kind of guide them to that perspective?
Well, I mean, it's always good, like getting a community, setting goals. I mean, the whole thing that we all know, we're great goal setters, set goals. And even if that goal is just going out and finding, water or thinking of some other discipline. The other thing that, and it's a little bit easier only because I've spent so much time training my brain. Right now, guys, your bodies are trained. The piece that you're really having to train right now is your brain. And that's the hardest muscle to train.
Yeah.
Your bodies are like machines right now. And you're used to doing that. But right now you're training your brain how to not fall into that trap of just not getting out of yourself, And so it is hard. So now this is why you got to turn it around. Somebody posted something on Facebook about, instead of saying you're stuck in your house, you're safe in your house.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really simple thing to do, is just use a different word. That's training your brain. It's training how you look at things. It's training your outlook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, you're great at, your bodies are like machines. You're used to training them. You can do that all day long. It's that brain and that attitude. Now that's your job. That's your job.
Yep.
Got
it.
Again, this is just my opinion. Disclaimer here.
No, I think it's true, and it's a good use. It's a good way to refocus for this time. It's like that. It's brain training. That's what I wrote in my blog post last week or whenever about like overcoming adversity. Like is a big part of being an athlete, and that. And like training is part of it, but the mental preparation is a huge part of, especially being
the hardest thing.
It really is, yeah.
I mean, that's what they say. When you go to swim across the English Channel. I was completely physically ready for that swim. I got on the boat. I wasn't even tired. It was this, and everybody will tell you that. It's 99% mental. So it's like we're all swimming the English Channel right now, and we're treading water. And how are you going to get through it? How are you going to do it? It's the same thing. That's what quarantine is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're stuck in this endless pool of like misery, and you're not going anywhere. You got to figure out a way to mentally get out of it.
Yep.
You can't stay there. It's going to kill you. You can't stay there.
So then if I was to ask you, we only have 8 minutes left. So I was going to do one more question, and then who you might recommend for a future session. So I'm trying to think which question I want to ask. How about the what motivates you to keep going?
Because I love it so much. You mean keep going in the quarantine, or keep going? What motivates me?
Well, I guess in the general sense, like it, so you can stick with that just in the swimming vein of like, yeah, you love it so much. How can you see that through? So maybe let's start.
I think I know, because I know it's making this, and again, this is going to sound really Pollyanna, but you know, I've dealt with so much stuff personally. You know, and I know nobody's life is perfect. I mean, my husband and I both agreed, we don't know whose family was more dysfunctional, his or mine. You know, we take turns, you know, and then raising 2 kids, that was not easy. And, but it made me a better person. It's really true. It's a cliche. It is not the successes that make you a better person. It is the failures. The perceived failure. It's the hard stuff. This is making us all so much better. And that's not to say I wake up some mornings and I'm like, I just don't know if I can do it. It's fair game, you know, it's hard. But it's in dealing with the hardship that makes you better, and putting into perspective. Now, all things are relative. I mean, I know each one of us, we are good people, and we can look elsewhere and say somebody's having a much harder time than I am. I get that. But don't deny the fact that it's hard for you. Life is relative. So you have permission to say, this is hard for you. As hard as it might be for somebody else, it's hard for you. This is making you a better person, hands down. It's making you a better member of the community. It's making you a better swimmer, whether you know it or not. And you're not going to forget how to swim. I guarantee you. I came off the English Channel and I swore I'd never swim again. And I don't think I stepped foot in a pool for 8 months. And guess what? I can still swim. You know, your body doesn't forget. It's still there. You're not losing a darn thing. So that's how you can, that's my little thing. This is making us all better human beings. Guaranteed. And I guarantee 100%. As much as we hate it. Courage is not easy. Courage is never easy. You know, we all watch the movies and we go, yay, they're heroes. But I don't think there's one single hero that's ever said, yeah, that was fun. Courage is not easy. I said that to, as a librarian, I'm taking all your time. But anyway, I had this one young gal who was transgender. And she came into my office because my office was a safe space. And she came in, and it was a horrible, I don't even know how, like, it was horrible. And she just talked, and I said, you know what, you're the most courageous person I know. And she goes, yeah, but this sucked. I said, well, whoever said this was courage is never, ever easy. Jumping off a boat to swim the English Channel, or to swim from your little lake in your hometown, or to stay in your house during a quarantine, or to watch people die until, none of this is easy. But it's going to make us a better person. Now I'm getting preachy.
That's what we need.
Yeah, you need to really believe this. This is making me a better person, whether I enjoy it or not. It's making me a better person.
Yeah,
I really believe that. So
yeah, taking the time.
And you will swim again. I promise you. I guarantee you. You will swim again. You're not going to forget.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I believe it. I've definitely done plenty of leaving and coming back to swimming. So I know it's like, I think it's even better than riding a bike.
It is. I mean, gosh,
because the feeling when you get back in the water, it just like.
That's what we miss. We miss the feeling. We missed it. So get in touch with what else in your life can give you that feeling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good advice. Any recommendations for who we could have next?
Oh my gosh, you've already got a great lineup. Who do you have lined up again, Shannon? This is when
Oh, I
you
just
you're like
well,
segue into your lineup.
I only have a Thursday and maybe Sunday next week for Chris, so there's more dates. So I don't think
Okay.
I'll be here for a while, so you can send me a list of people.
Yeah, I can recommend a couple people. I think, do you have one of our other Penn Heron swimmers coming on, Chris Stewart?
Oh, no, I don't.
I might get her. I think the new swimmers would be fun to have on. I would love to see, some of the older swimmers too. There's a couple people that I met in Vermont. Well, Chris would know these too. And yeah, Pam Lads, who's 70. I mean, just a really nice perspective. I'm really, one for, I love all the young swimmers and stuff, but I really love the older swimmers as well because they have such a great perspective on things. Marilyn Grace would be fabulous. Who swam Ontario. She was the first one to swim Ontario. She would be fabulous. I'll get in touch with her.
Okay.
She's amazing. She's amazing. So
yeah,
I'll get you in touch with some people, Shannon. We'll hook you up.
Thanks. We'll keep it interesting.
Is anyone friends with Lynn Cox?
I do know Lynn Cox.
Yeah, I figured I might send her. I know she's on Facebook like once a quarter, but maybe we can catch her this quarter.
Yeah, and she would
I'll
do
send her a message. She totally
she
would.
would do it, Daniela. That's a great
I met her
idea.
at SCAR, and she explained similar to what you were saying, like swimming in the sink. She explained like her feelings of overcoming the lack of doing something that you love, which we're all feeling a little bit right now. And that was her whole kind of spiel when I was at SCAR. But it kind of hits so close to home now that maybe it's worth hearing again.
I think it's a great idea, and she would happily do that. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Well done, guys.
All right, I'm gonna hop off and do abs because I'm accumulating fat rolls as we speak. I'm already thinking about breakfast and lunch and what we're having for dinner. So I gotta do some abs.
Tell Charlotte we all said hi.
Yeah.
Okay, I will.
Thanks, Daniela.
Bye.
Oh, we just have a couple minutes left.
Are you enjoying this? Is everyone enjoying this? And I love that you started doing this, Shannon. I absolutely love that you've done this.
I love that you just wanted to come right on and talk to us. It's awesome.
Oh,
For a while, it's just me and Jocelyn.
How many episodes have you done, Shannon?
I think this is the third week.
Wow. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
I want to go back and watch all the other ones now.
I don't think that I haven't posted the other ones because there was one that was just me and Jocelyn, and sometimes Tracy Knight.
And the kids.
Okay.
My kids sometimes pop in. Yeah. So I think the only recording I posted was the one with Daniela last week. So
yeah.
And I just
No, it's just yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I mean, I'm actually amazed at not amazed. I don't know, but I'm loving the feeling that I'm having right now.
Oh, good.
Just after such a short period of time.
Yeah.
And Louise, what you said about the stages of grief. I had some really ugly moments about 2 weeks ago, in that anger space. And I mean, I'll confess this. I was finding myself angry at Charlotte, which is ridiculous. Like, who gets angry at Charlotte? But I was looking and it was like, oh, she has access to this gym and she probably still has access to that pool. And, and I'm like, what am I? And it was so not me, and so unrecognizable. And yet I fortunately had somebody point out to me at that moment who was not still in that phase, or either maybe it was in a different place. Like listen to yourself, listen to what you're saying. Like, wow. Oh, wow. Ooh, that I don't want to be here, but kind of give yourself permission to go through it.
Right.
But then come out the other side and be like, no, like, because I'm sure there's people angry with me right now because I still have access to some open water. And it's a challenge. We're all going through that. But just to hear stories, and I've actually been Mark Spratt would be another person I think I would love to see. Mark keeps posting these